What's up, everyone? In this video, we're going to break down some trades that I took to end the week, along with some trades that we took in my Discord community. And we're also going to go over some lessons that we could use to better prepare us for future trades based off of the analysis that needs to be done, in my opinion, to trade successfully. Now, if you enjoy my videos, if you could just take 2 seconds, hit the thumbs up button for me. And if you want a very good trading resource, I'm going to link my Instagram in the description below. I post daily trading recaps on here, along with very good trading tips and tricks. The link to this is in the description below. You're definitely missing out if you aren't following it. Now, let's get right into the video. To get more context on the two trades from Thursday, let's go over the pre-market plan. I post these every single day in the Discord. The first one was on the S&P 500, whether you trade the future itself or SPY options off of this chart. We were selling off overnight into the 4172, the 4165 demand zone. I was looking to play this two ways. This is how I gauge my context. This is how I get structure every single day when I trade. Was watching to see if we could find a buyer at these demand zones, and I'm going to watch for clues to take it long. Or if we slice through demand and selling pressure is heavy, I'm going to look to play SPY puts, targeting demand lower if no buyers are present. We also had supply at the 4196 to 99 area. So going to the chart and translating these levels, the first trade came on SPY puts. Now this is just doing different type of analysis. Throughout the whole pre-market, we were seeing very heavy selling pressure, and eventually we came into this demand zone, and there really wasn't any efforts of buyers bringing us higher and switching the trend. So that was my first sign that sellers were pretty aggressive and buyers weren't ready just yet. Then the market opened up. Keep in mind the given context: rejected supply, trending down overnight, heavy selling pressure. And then the first 5 or 10 minutes of the market open, we were trading in a exact same manner that what we saw a month ago when we got a very strong all-day fader to the downside. So I seen some very key characteristics that gave me a context that the market may want to aggressively sell off and test lower demand zones. And the nearest ones we had were the 4172 and 4165 demand zone. Again, the characteristics were very, very similar to an aggressive 120 point sell-off that we saw. I think it was last month, a couple weeks ago. So I recognized this. Intraday, we were heavy selling pressure, sellers aggressively hitting the market, and buyers really not showing up. So at 9:38, as soon as we got this push down, I played the SPY 417 puts at $1.42. My stop was extremely tight at 4180, around where my cursor's at. And again, if you've been following me for a while, if you're in the Discord room, you all know how much I stress that my best trades work out for me right away. If you were to fast forward this trade, I had zero reason to panic. We had demand lower acting like a magnet. And then this thing just kept aggressively getting hit. No bids into the market. We came into the 4172 area. And this was key because this lined up basically with pre-market lows. And this is a big part of my strategy and just knowing where others are trading. Now, others did have this bearish mentality, and I was watching to scale out at a break of pre-market lows. If I go into my intraday commentary, which basically I update members of my thought process and what's going on in my head throughout the day, I said if we get a quick push below pre-market lows, I'm out. Extremely bearish for those who are in puts. I'm gonna ride this down into 4165, and then I got out as soon as we got that push. So you all know a lot of breakout traders are buying puts below a pre-market low or a low a day, especially when we're inside demand. It's a big red flag and a big recipe for reversal. So as soon as we got that push down, that low triggered and I saw volume come in, is where I exited my full position at 945 at $1.80 for about a 30% trade. So if you're trading with $1,000, $1,000 invested in this trade could have made you 300. Very fast, it worked out right away, and it was a quick 7-minute trade. Now we did move down even further. However, I really didn't want to play with volume inside of demand. I really didn't want to sit in front of a quick move up and it would have destroyed my premiums. So I took profit. Yes, we sold off into this demand zone, and I was extremely bearish. Let me just remove this now. I was extremely bearish. I really wasn't interested playing to the long side due to the sentiment that I just explained. So if we did bounce, I would have wanted a retest for the market to come back and prove that really buyers are there again on the second test, signifying strength in a potential reversal to the upside. However, once we started moving up and bouncing off demand, I know some members did take this trade and did make money off of the demand bounce, especially with nice volume. However, one thing I do want to point out is that once we started moving up, this is where reading the tape comes into play here. We had very aggressive buyers hitting the offer. I mean, this is some serious size on the S&P 500, around the 4175, 4177 area. Very aggressive buying. So now we have buyers factored in. I'm going to mark it out in this area right here. Buyers factored in. Then the market rallies. You could argue you could take it long. It worked out pretty well as we targeted VWAP. We tested the high a day in the opening price. However, we consolidated in a very tight range and the momentum died out. And I kind of want to be a spectator at this point. Now the market's consolidating. We're having a hard time moving above VWAP. Keep in mind the current context. I'm watching for a lower high, or I'm watching for more buyers to step in and defend the demand or defend that 4175 strong orders coming through on the tape. We're also making resistance around 4185, 418, 450-ish, you want to call it. The market starts pulling back, and guess what happens? In a 5-minute period, we start consolidating in a 1-point range, a $1.50 range, very tight range. However, if you were watching the tape, I didn't get this. I didn't get a screenshot in time, and I can't really go back to point it out. However, very aggressive orders now were hitting, instead of the ask, they were hitting the bid, and you had a passive buyer basically absorbing those aggressive sellers, acting like a big wall. They were absorbing those orders. And you could say, it's safe to say that this buyer over here, aggressive over here, is now passive over here. And now we're just waiting for momentum. Now we're just waiting for volume to confirm it to the upside. We want to have momentum when we do trade. And as soon as we got that quick push up, this buyer was getting rewarded right away. We started moving up, nice candles. And I believe there was news about the Biden and taxes or something. So it's funny, maybe somebody that knew something was leveraging into a very big position at these two areas. And this highlighted circle at 10:49, I played accidentally, loaded in my option chain, was Monday's expiration. The 419 calls at $1.56. So every contract would have costed $150. Got long at 10:49. Keep in mind, I'm updating everybody throughout the day. I said keep in mind the big picture. It's still very weak. However, if we go back down, test the demand, and buyers don't show up, we could see a massive sell-off. If we go back down and test this demand to make a higher low, a potential reversal could happen. So I said a break and hold above 4185 area should make us rally 10 points into the 4196 supply. Then a couple of minutes later, we approached target. I posted that at 10:48, a minute before this breakout. We got above, I took it long, and again, this thing worked out right away. We had supply at 4196, 4199, and as soon as we came up to this area, buyers were very strong. Keep in mind as well, this trade was working out for me right away. No signs of selling. Every dip kept getting bought up, and we aggressively kept moving higher after we built momentum in the market above 415, 4185, and once we made that higher low, and those buyers defended that. So now the tide kind of switched, and that's why it's very important to not have a bias in the market and just do what it's telling you. I missed this long trade at demand. I mean, that's a textbook setup, a perfect 20-point bounce to the upside. You're easily making 100, 150% on that bounce. I missed that because my bias was very bearish. However, I capitalized on this move because I was able to flip like a switch, not have a bias, and just do and react to what the market was telling me. Now, because I traded Monday's expiration accidentally, I would have preferred to trade the 419 calls for Friday's expiration. We started moving up, and this is a very key area, especially that it's 4,200. It's a whole psychological number. We start consolidating in this area, and at 11:13, I sell my full position. I sell my calls at $2.23 for a 43% gain. Now, if you're trading with $1,000, the same point I entered, same point I exited, you would have made about $430 from a $1,000 investment. If you're trading with $15,000, trading 100 contracts, you're making 6K. So happens fast. The market moved very aggressively in our favor immediately, and I didn't want to really play any games, especially that I had pretty good gains locked in. Then the market started consolidating, and this is FOMO hour, what I call it. Very low volume. If you miss the first couple of setups, you're going to have FOMO, and most likely you're going to force setups. So this is where discipline and patience comes into play, and you really have to sit on your hands for momentum and volume to build, and for high quality setups to present themselves. Nvidia has been having really good setups. It's been a very good stock to trade due to the amount of volume, due to the amount of momentum and clear direction, meaning as we move higher, it's attracting more participants in the market. On Wednesday, we gapped kind of flat, but we had all-time highs around 655, 60. The market moved up, and we had my favorite scalping strategy. We also acted as support once we were above 655, 60, and then this thing started rallying, had three strong green candles to the upside, nice volume, and then throughout the day, the market was continuously making higher highs, continuously making higher lows as well. Then on Thursday with Nvidia, we were same exact thing. Dips continuously got bought. The buyers from buying above all-time highs defended that area, made higher highs, made higher lows. And then on Friday, today, the day I'm recording this section, same thing. Very strong move, very clean price action the past 3 days. It's very easy to extract profits out of this setup and out of this name when the market's trading like this. We also had Amazon, which earlier in the week bounced off of this demand zone at 3212, double bottomed one day. Then the following day, we bounced at it. Kind of lacked momentum. However, we did double bottom after testing it the first time, and the day came into it, and then this thing rallied. So a beautiful setup off of that demand zone. We had a very good end to the week. Here are just what a few members had messaged me. It feels good when we could all make money together. We all follow our plans, and we're all disciplined enough to wait for the best and highest quality of setups that we have patience for. Now, all you really need in your trading is just a little foundation or maybe a tweak on a few things with your style, your strategy, your confirmation, your exits. It could go a long way where you could see massive growth and learn a skill that could compound itself for a very long time. Another trade that I took on SPY was on Friday, and in the pre-market plan, we had very strong buying overnight. We also had supply at 4209 and 3/4, along with very important supply at 4219, 4221, and 27, which should act like a magnet as they are very important imbalanced areas. So at the 4209 supply, we were watching if it could reject and pull back, or if we were slicing through it, we could watch to take it long and trade at the higher supply zones that will act like a magnet. So now going to an intraday chart on this, maximize this. I did play calls inside of supply. Yes, I know it deviates away from my strategy. However, we did have very strong buying, and there was really no reason to play puts today due to that context. So sellers really weren't getting rewarded at the supply zone. And at 936 right here, I took SPY calls. My stop was below this low at 4211. So I was risking really about 3 points. And my reward was going to be the supply zone at the highs, as that would have acted like a magnet if price did really have an agenda to push higher. So risking 3 points to make about 9 or 10 points, very good risk to reward. The market started moving up. However, in the manner it was moving up was not in ideal conditions that I prefer to trade in. Then the market started pulling back. And at this point, I had my finger on the trigger. I was ready to stop out. I was ready to get out of this position. Thankfully and fortunately, I stuck to my guns. I followed my plan. I did not stop out. It was 1 point away. Then immediately the market found the bid. We started moving back up. I did not like how we broke the high and just didn't go anywhere. But we were consolidating, really didn't have any reason to worry. We finally got my push up. The premiums got inflated a little bit, and I like to sell into strength due to the volatility that somewhat was apparent. And at 9:49, I sold my full position at supply. Did not want to play games. It was a okay sell. I mean, I definitely left some profits on the table because we did consolidate. However, these are not favorable conditions how I like to trade. And eventually, by end of day, these contracts went up about 300%, a little over 250%. So it would have been nice if I did hold. However, I'm not going to complain about a winning trade, and I'm not going to complain about the current conditions that the market gave me for this setup. Tesla, very nice setup on Friday. I did take this myself. This was at the same time I was in SPY calls. I'm not a fan of entering two positions at once, so this was lighter size. However, we made a very nice move up. We didn't come off a demand, but buyers were really buying here from the buying pressure. We pulled back, and this goes with my favorite scalping strategy that I talk about with members in the course. But we had the setup. We actually hugged VWAP, which was another leading indicator for me. VWAP started pointing up, a volume started coming in, and at 9:39, I got long the 590 calls at $3.75. Now at this point, we break the high, we start consolidating above it. Really no reason to panic. The trade is working out somewhat right away in my favor. I would have liked a stronger move up. But as soon as we got that next quick push up above this high, I didn't want to sit in a choppy action, especially after we broke the first high. It was extremely choppy. And at 9:47, I sold my full position at $4.70. So a nice dollar on the contracts for a 6-minute, 7-minute trade. Then the contracts, a few minutes after, 10 minutes after, completely rallied. Looking back in hindsight, I could learn from this and really just get out when the market wants me to get out, not get out because I don't want to sit in it or I don't want to deplete a bunch of mental capital. Because these contracts eventually went up to a high of about $10.88, almost $11. So about a 200% return on the contracts. And there was really no major pullback. It was continuously uptrending, very strong move to the upside. So very nice trade on this as well. I think I'm going to end the video here. If you did learn something, you did enjoy, I would greatly appreciate it if you could just hit that like button for me. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. And if you really want to learn more, check out the links in the description below. I offer a very in-depth and educational course that comes with access to the Discord. I will be adding and updating videos to it this weekend. The prices are not going to be this low for much longer.